Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be walking you through a 100K a month DM setting funnel. My name is Adam. I run apexsetting.com. Basically, since 2019, we've been coaching, consulting, done for you services on appointment setting, building appointment setting teams, recruiting, hiring, training, managing appointment setters. So we know exactly what to do, and I'm going to walk you through the best way to build the 100K a month funnel. So the prerequisite is that for this funnel to be effective and yield the desired results, you need to have at least 100 likes per post every time you post. So 100 to 200 is best. Obviously, the more you have, the more there is to work with, but we want to make sure that you have at least 100 if you're just getting started. This is, let's say, the foundational audience requirement, okay, the minimum standard. So this is a maths problem, okay? So before building anything, reverse engineer the target. Most coaches say they want 100K a month, but they have no idea what it means operationally, okay? So for example, 100K a month, you might need 20 to 30 clients a month, which means 100 book calls a month, which means you need 500 qualified conversations a month, which means you need to reach out to 3,000 people a month. Okay, so every number in that chain is a lever. Change the offer, close rate, and show rate, and every figure shifts. The DM funnel begins with the economics of what you're offering, and not the messaging itself. So the DM has nothing to do with it. So, who are you selling to? A DM funnel cannot compensate for a weak market. Before writing a single opener, validate your market against all 6 criteria. Is there a painful problem? The problem must matter enough that solving it genuinely is valuable. Purchasing power. Interest without the ability to buy creates conversations, not revenue. And urgency. They want the problem solved now, not someday. You need to make sure you're talking to people who want to solve the problem now. And also reachable and identifiable. Can you find them on Instagram, LinkedIn, and communities and identify them by profile? This is more for B2B, but so you're going to ignore this one if you're selling B2C. So the offer must convert before you scale the DMs. Your DM system does not exist to rescue a confusing offer. A 100K a month funnel needs an offer with 4 working dimensions simultaneously. So price must cover the setter, the closer, and the traffic costs with margin remaining. You need to make sure there's demand, so there's actual real urgency and people actually are currently buying what you have to offer. That's why I always say don't reinvent the wheel, just copy what someone else is doing, and then once you get the ball rolling, you can then alter and change. Close, so ability to close. Do you have a clear promise, specific outcome, and a reason to believe the mechanism works? And fulfill. The funnel should not generate volume the team cannot actually serve. So can you fulfill the service for the client properly? And even if you go from 1 to 10 to 20 clients, can you fulfill that and make it the same for everyone? Every prospect should be able to answer 6 questions about your offer. Who is this for? What problem does it solve? What outcome does it create? Why this method? Why should I believe you? What do I do next? Okay, you need to come up with answers for all of these. Traffic sources. So where do conversations come from? 100K a month funnel must never depend on a single source of conversations. 2 engines must run in parallel, each covering the other's weakness. So inbound engine. Watched content, people who have followed your profile, replied to a story or commented on a post, downloaded a lead magnet, messaged a keyword trigger, or engaged with proof or case studies. This is more inbound, right? And then you're going to obviously jump on these leads and talk to them and open a conversation with all of these people. Outbound. So you initiate a conversation, build volume, and fills gaps where the content slows. So targeted prospecting from follower list, warm follower and engager outreach, competitor audience, and community outreach. You're not going to do this as much for most niches, but it's just an idea of what you can do. Network and referrals, old lead reactivation. So these are a few things you can try to go outbound, but mostly you want to depend on the inbound. And you want to generate more inbound, let's say. Not necessarily depend on it, because you need to create it. The profile conversion layer. When someone receives your DM, the first thing they do is check your profile. The profile is a silent, always on part of the funnel, and a weak one damages everything downstream. So clear positioning. Prospects must immediately understand who you help and what you do for them. Relevant content and proof, case studies, testimonials, and results. Content builds trust before words are exchanged. People buy from people. The profile should feel like a real expert, not a template, and clear CTA. A single obvious next step removes friction and directs motivated visitors to act. So you have a call to action. The setter starts the conversation. The profile basically sells it. So you need to have a good profile. The next thing is having DM entry points. So multiple roads to the same funnel. Context changes the conversation completely. The strongest funnels do not think, what opener do we use? They think, what triggered this conversation? Each entry point demands a different approach. So cold and warm. Cold prospecting, warm follower outreach, and engagement-based outreach requires more context building before transitioning. Inbound, story replies, comments, keywords, CTAs, and lead magnet requests. This is higher trust, right? You're going to get good leads from this part here, from the inbound content. Reactivation and referrals, old leads, no-shows, lost deals, and referrals from clients. Prior context exists. Conversations can move faster. You don't have to do much selling. They already know who you are. The DM conversation architecture. So you're going to go from opening context, introducing, set the context, rapport and discovery. So you're going to build trust and ask basic questions just to create some connection, and more than that, learn about them. Situation and outcome to clarify their current state plus their goals, the problems, basically uncovering the pain and the consequences. Let's say they want to have more energy to play with a family, and you're basically uncovering that if they don't, basically join your fitness program, they're still not going to be able to do the activities perhaps that they want to do. And then qualification and call. Okay, so confirm it and book a call. So that's kind of the simple explanation of how it would work. Qualification, should this person even get a call? We don't want to give calls out to everyone. The goal is not maximum book calls. The goal is maximum qualified sales opportunities. Booking weak leads wastes closers' time and inflates no-show rates. Okay. Number one, fit a need. Do they have the specific problem your offer solves? Is their current situation one you can genuinely improve? Number two, financial ability. Employment, income, and investment capacity. Not everyone without money is disqualified, but capacity matters more. Like, do they have access to the money, perhaps? Number three is urgency and timeline. Do they want change now? Is there a real reason to act, or is this a someday interest? Number four, authority and commitment. Can they make the decision themselves? Are they actually willing to take action if the call goes well? Reading the signals. Hot leads versus time wasters. A strong setter reads behavior inside the conversation, not just the words. Signals compound. One alone rarely qualifies or disqualifies someone. So you want to look for patterns. So the buying signals: thoughtful, detailed replies, genuine effort, specific questions about the process, price, or the result, clear problem awareness and urgency, curiosity about the solution and the timeline. They're actually asking for details, naturally moving closer to a decision, fast, consistent response speed. That's a good buyer, right? Negative signals: long venting messages with zero action or orientation, extracting free advice without showing any commitment, one-word replies across the whole conversation, avoids direct questions or resists guidance, no urgency, always like maybe later, no decision-making authority, right? Lead scoring. Not every conversation is equal. At scale, you cannot give every conversation the same attention. Your setters need a strong scoring framework to know who deserves immediate focus and who to nurture. A is hot, high fit, high need, high urgency, strong engagement, clear buying intent, book the call now. B is warm, good fit, real problem, some interest, needs nurturing, keep in active follow-up sequence. Okay. C is cold, so potential fit, low urgency, low engagement, place into content, and proof for nurturing loop. Disqualified: no fit, no capacity, no real need, or no realistic path to result. Remove from active pipeline. Okay, so you want to focus on A and B. Obviously, if there's someone with low urgency and low engagement, C, I wouldn't really engage too much. D, definitely not. So A and B is really where you want to put your focus. This framework stops your closers calendar filling up with D-grade conversations disguised as sales calls. So the nurture layer, not ready equals dead. Most prospects will not book immediately. That does not mean the funnel, not ready doesn't equal dead, if I said that right. That does not mean the funnel failed. It means they need a middle layer. A mature DM funnel keeps these people inside the ecosystem until something changes. They enter the nurture sequence, consistent content, proof drops, case studies, and strategic follow-up maintain the relationship without pressure. A new trigger appears, their pain increases, another solution fails, they get a pay rise, timing improves. So things can change for people that makes them want to join, or that will allow them to join, let's say. the conversation restarts. So the reactivation message lands at the right moment, and now the prospect is ready. The DM database becomes more valuable every month it grows. So booking, show up rate, and the sales handoff. There are two critical leaks between qualified conversations and the attended sales call. And most funnels ignore both. The show up system, booking 100 calls at 60% show rate gives you 60 attended calls. Improve that to 80% and you get another 20 calls without generating a single new lead. Okay, so it's about improving the show up rate, not necessarily getting more leads all of the time. Immediate calendar confirmation plus clear link, pre-call context and expectations in the DM, reminder sequence on with relevant proof, systematic rebooking with no-shows. The setter to closer handoff. The sales call must not start from zero. The closer should receive a full briefing before the call begins. Lead source and entry point, current situation and desired outcome, main problem, pain and past attempts, urgency, objections and buying signals, personal context and decision authority. I'm going to read that again. The sales call must not start from zero. The closer should receive a full briefing, right? This is a very important point because when you're doing the DM setting, you're going to find that the setter might not know, the salesman, the closer might not know everything that you know as the setter about the client. So that's why there needs to be some kind of handover. There needs to be some kind of notes. There needs to be some kind of briefing, something that you can hand over to the closer that the closer can go through and say, right, I feel like I understand this person 90%. Then they get on the call and they already know who they're talking to. They already understand their profile and already understand what they want to achieve, where they're at, what their problems are, what they're struggling with, what their job is, what kind of person they are, how likely are they to buy, etc., etc. Right? How ready are they? How motivated are they? Yeah, so you want to hand that over to the closer. The follow-up engine in CRM pipeline. Number one, DM Ghost structured follow-up. A sequence of touch points spaced over a few days, not a single chase message. So you want to send people a couple of messages to follow up. No show, systematic rebook. So immediately reactivate with a low friction rescheduling message, not let the call die quietly. So if someone doesn't show up, you want to send a message which basically sends an automatic message, or you can do it by hand with setter, but basically sending a message to say, to ask them to rebook. You don't just let that die off. So number 3, lost deal, new trigger monitoring. So track timing objections, set calendar reminders, reopen when their circumstances are likely to have changed. Number 4, CRM pipeline management. Every lead needs an owner, a stage, a last contact date, and a next action assigned. Memory cannot manage volume, your CRM must. So you need to have a very good CRM. Every lead needs an owner, a stage, a last contact date, right? So who's in charge of it? Where are they at in the pipeline? How long has it been since you contacted them? Everything needs to be managed correctly. So the KPI dashboard. Measure every conversation point. You cannot improve DM setting. That is too vague. You improve individual conversation points and each bottleneck. So for example, you have the traffic, response rate, meaningful conversation, qualification, booking, show rate, close rate. Each of these needs to be improved in turn. You can't just improve everything at once. You need to look at where the bottlenecks are. You need to look at where your strong points are, where your weak points are. Where does the conversation drop off? Where does it usually start off good? Where does it fail? Where does the conversation become boring? You need to constantly analyze and improve your conversation. The power of this dashboard is diagnostic precision. Okay, so identify which single conversation point is underperforming, and that's going to allow you to make the improvements. Team structure and setter capacity and unit economics. A lower volume, one person does everything. At lower volume, one person does everything. At scale, roles must be separate, but the danger is adding setters before the funnel is measurable. 100K a month team, you have a founder, an operator, owns the strategy. Content traffic, right? Someone who's doing the content. You have the setter, creates and qualifies conversations. The closer converts qualified calls. Fulfillment gets client results. CRM keeps the pipeline clean. The setter capacity reality. A setter's highest value task is not always starting new conversations, it's often responding to the hottest leads already in the pipeline. So it's not a setter, yes, they can start many conversations and that's good if they can do that, but their best skill is going to be replying to the best, hottest leads already in the pipeline. A setter's real daily workload includes new outreach, active conversations, follow-ups, qualification, booking, CRM updates, and reactivation. If you measure only the messages sent, this creates dangerous blind spots. Okay, so scale people after the process is measurable. So make the process measurable first and learn to work it yourself. And then when you learn to work it yourself, you can hand it over to someone else. So quality control, feedback loops, and bottlenecks. Quality control reviews, regular audits of setter conversations, closer calls, and CRM data. Are setters sounding robotic, booking weak leads, missing buying signals, pushing calls too early? Okay, so you want to do quality control. You want to have these quality control questions and see how your system is performing. Next is sales data feedback loop. Closed clients reveal what made them buy. Lost deals reveal objections. Bad calls reveal qualification failure. Best leads reveal which content and sources to double down on. So all this is data. Be aware of your data. Have a look at the data behind each thing, whether a call fails or a call wins or you get a bad lead or whatever. It is data behind it. The bottleneck principle. The funnel grows by removing its biggest single constraint, not by randomly doing more of everything. Find the constraint first, fix it, then scale. And unless multiple things are very broken, focus on changing or fixing one thing at a time so you can actually see how it performs and the difference it has. If close rate is strong but revenue is low, you need volume. If you have 200 book calls and your sales team can't handle them, more DMs makes the business worse. So scale the bottleneck, only fix the bottleneck. Okay, so an idea of 100k a month. System, you got attention, content, plus outbound network reactivation. Number 2, traffic, profile visits, engage. Entry point, cold DM, story reply, keyword, old lead. Conversation, open, context report, discovery, find out about them. Qualification, do they fit the need? 6, buying signals, is there enthusiasm and intent? 7, disqualify or qualify, nurture or book them. Booking them into the calendar, having the show up reminders on. Number 10 is sales, diagnose, present, decide. 11, outcomes, closed, lost, or follow up. 12 is delivery, and then proof, case study, and that goes round back to gaining attention again. Okie doke. So, what a real 100k a month DM funnel actually is. It is not one magic script. It is a system that takes attention, turns it into conversations, identifies the right people, qualifies them, recognizes intent, books calls, gets people to show up, converts them into clients, follows up with everyone who was not ready, and then uses the data to improve the entire machine. You need to read this over and over again, because this is what having a good system, a DM setting system, is all about. It starts with economics. Reverse engineer every operational number from your revenue goal before writing a single message. CRM qualification frameworks, lead scoring, follow-up sequences, and feedback loops, not willpower, so it runs on the system, not you trying to be heroically chasing people. It gets smarter over time. So if you just keep reading your data, analyzing your data, using your database, you will grow. The feedback loops improve the targeting, the content, and conversation at every single stage. If you know someone has come from a certain video type, which leads to a certain type of conversation, you look at everything that works and you do more of what works, and you ignore the stuff that isn't working, and you look at what doesn't work and understand why it didn't work. When you understand why something works and why something doesn't work, and what content works and what content doesn't, if you can nail those things and make notes of them and write them down and keep doing them again and again, you're slowly going to find the things that really do work, and then you're going to keep doubling down on them. Hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. If you need help sourcing or recruiting a setter, training a setter, managing a setter, building an appointment setting team, I can help you do that. I've been doing it for years. If you need to train your team on how to appointment set properly, I can coach them, I can consult them, I can train them. Click the link in the bio, click my website as well if you want to check it out. apexsetting.com. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.